bullet train that traveled from Akihabara Station in Tokyo arrives at the Hakata Station in the center of Fukuoka. On your feet! All of the soldiers in the first car stands up to their feet almost instantly. In the other cars, it is the same way, with the other commanding officers telling their troops to stand up. Shindo and Wilson watches their men and women exit the train cars onto the outside. Police officers makes a path for the 50 AMF soldiers of the 88 Demolitions Battalion. Shindo looks back and sees Miki walk out of the train, followed by Terusawa and Morimura, the former of which is tired beyond belief.
You know, I thought it would last longer than that.
Well, it didn't. Also, when I said on your feet, that means you too. I wonder how my boss at the Japan Times is going to react to this. I basically told him that this is a great opportunity to report on this situation as soon as possible. That's why I brought a camera with me. And I told him that you're under my supervision. Now let's go. You're with General Wilson and Kano. Sagusa, let's move. The general and Esper walks away as Terusawa wipes his eyes. Amelia greets the two again with a cup of coffee for each, even one for herself. Oh, thanks. The three walks together, exiting the train station. Upon doing so, they come across a ready-made convoy of 12 Type 73 heavy and medium trucks and 8 Type 73 APCs waiting for them. They see the soldiers entering their designated vehicles, as well as the people from the future and Shindo and Sagusa. Terusawa and Morimura follows Kano into a medium truck and shuts the door. With the Fukuoka police escorting the convoy, the armored and transport vehicles drives off to their next destination. In her dark blue AMF uniform and her hair tied in a bun, Lieutenant Colonel Ayako Kujo stands outside of the outpost. She has been waiting for a few minutes for the convoy to arrive. Then she hears sirens coming from her left. She turns and waits for them. The police cars comes around the corner. Following them are the medium and heavy trucks and APCs. The vehicles passes her and stops a few yards away. The engines turns off and the soldiers exit the vehicles. Among those exiting are Sagusa, Morimura, and Terusawa. Right away, they can see the structure of the outpost stretching up to the dome on top of the mountain that resembles the Tokyo Dome. Generals Wilson and Shindo walks up to the Lieutenant Colonel, which she salutes them. Kano, Grinchenko, and Field walks up beside Wilson, with the other three standing beside Shindo. Lieutenant Colonel Ayako Kujo of the 97th Infantry Battalion. Welcome to Outpost 64. Are we too late? No, sir. You're just in time. Where's your battalion? Inside, helping all of the scientists pack. Good. 88, group up! The troops of crates moves up behind the two generals. Lieutenant Colonel, lead the way. Kujo turns and enters through the entrance, with Shindo and Wilson and their troops following suit. Kano, Grinchenko, Sagusa, Terusawa, and Morimura follows with them, though with the generals. Entering the building, Terusawa turns on and aims the video camera at the aqua-painted walls of the outpost. He aims it at the soldiers carrying the crates. Hey, Miss Kano? Is this plan of yours going to work? Honestly, I hope so. The group continues down to walk down the long corridor, while the 97th Infantry Battalion proceeds to clean out rooms, offices, and other facilities. One scientist walks up to Lieutenant Colonel Kujo. Ma'am, please reconsider this decision. It's not my order to give. It was from the Prime Minister. Closer and closer they get to the main dome, they can feel a gradual cool breeze coming in. Sagusa suddenly feels a chill down her spine, causing her to shiver a little. Are you cold from the air? It's not that. I can already sense its presence from this distance. Just stay by me, okay? She nods, gets closer to him, and continues facing forward, unknowing of what is going to happen. Terusawa, meanwhile, is too busy taking photos of the base. Finally, they reach the very top of the base. But there are 3 paths. Alright, here we are. The blast doors behind me will lead you to ground floor. The 2 to my left and right will lead you to a balcony overlooking ground level. Right. 88th, head forward. The rest of you, up on the balconies. Kujo turns around and pushes a button. The blast doors open and the soldiers walks through. Kano, Terusawa, Morimura, and Wilson goes up the steps to the balcony on the left, while Sagusa, Shindo, Grinchenko, and Field goes up the steps to the balcony on the right. Moments later, the groups of 3 arrives in the balconies. They resemble a commentary booth in a stadium. They notice something dimly glowing gold coming from the center of the dome. They walk closer to the glass and looks to see what it is. Terusawa, Morimura, and Sagusa become shocked. In the center of the dome is the giant crystal-like sphere. Its dim light reveals the dormant kaiju. Is that? It is. It's so massive. Bigger than I thought, really. Now I really hope this plan works. Let us all hope. Shindo? I know. It's overwhelming. And admittedly terrifying. On ground level close to the sphere, the soldiers becomes overwhelmed by the size of it. They did not expect the creature within to be this massive. Holy shit. How big is this thing? If I had to guess, I would say around 100 meters? Or possibly bigger? 150 meters. The soldiers looks to her. Dr. Nakajima informed me when I arrived. Now, time is wasting. Get to it! The soldiers of the 88th Demolitions Battalion places the crates down on the floor and opens them up. Inside are a power drill in each, placed next to the detonator and explosive dynamite-shaped C4 charges. The soldiers removes the drills and begins digging into the sphere on all sides. From the balconies, they can see the men and women in uniform getting to work drilling into the sphere as fast as they can. Time to rewrite history. For everyone. The same doctor from before approaches the lieutenant colonel. Please, ma'am, you have to see this. Why haven't you evacuated? Because the sensors are showing signs of activity within the sphere. Kujo turns her head to the scientist in his lab coat. What? The soldiers finally finishes drilling. They step aside and let their colleagues place the C4 charges into the holes. If we do not hurry this up, we will have a situation on our hands. All of you, double time! The demolition team speeds up the process. One soldier of the 18th squad places a charge in the hole and walks away, extending the wire it is attached to. But then, he stops. He feels the floor slightly vibrate. He turns around and the floor vibrates again. What the hell? Mikami gets closer to the sphere again and puts his ear against it. Another soldier sees the man. Hey, Colonel, what are you doing? We have to... Shh! Don't you hear that? Hear what? Tahara goes up to it and places his ear on the crystal wall. Kujo and Usui catches the two with their ears against it and approaches them. Private! Colonel! This is not the time to be fooling around! Ma'am, I'm hearing something coming from within. From within? The doctor approaches it and places his ear on it. Everyone, halt! Almost instantly, all of the soldiers stops what they are doing. Doctor, what do you hear? Usui does not respond. The lieutenant colonel angrily goes up to the man, grabs his shoulder, and turns him to her. Damn it, I said, what do you... She stops her sentence. Dr. Uzui's face is frozen with fear. There is... Snap out of it. What do you hear? Ma'am? It's a heartbeat. In the balconies, the groups are taking notice of Kujo putting her ear to the sphere. What are they doing? Kujo walks back a few steps away from the sphere. Her face is full of worry and fear. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Wilson approaches the microphone and pushes a button. Lieutenant Colonel, is there a problem? Indeed. Why did you all stop? Generals, we have a problem. Suddenly, something triggers inside of Sagusa's mind. She backs away from the large windows and places her hands on her head. Shindo rushes over to her. Mickey, what is it? M11 receives messages in his mainframe. His face suddenly turns shock. We need to leave. What? Bobby, we can't just... I'm receiving an increase in power level. It gets Shindo's attention. Where is it coming from? It's... within the crystal sphere. Shindo becomes more shocked than ever. It's no longer dormant. On ground level, the sphere suddenly grows even brighter than ever. It slightly blinds everyone who looks in its direction. All of you, back away! The soldiers and Kujo backs away from it. Suddenly, the light stops. Everyone looks back at the sphere. The soldiers near the sphere can feel air being pulled into the holes. Suddenly, the holes blows the air back out, pushing out the C4 from within. But then, they can hear something else than the heartbeat. The sound of growling from within. A giant eye opens. Its gold pupils looks down on the soldiers and Kujo. Holy shit. Doctor, please tell me that you have a contingency plan. We do. In the balconies are red buttons to hit for emergencies only. But we need to get away from the surrounding area. Right. Everyone, stand clear. Shindo, Wilson, hit the red buttons once we are clear of the sphere. The contingency plan. Vice Admiral, attend to Mickey for me. I'm on it. Shindo rushes over to the console while Field takes his place comforting Sagusa. Wilson does the same and waits for the soldiers and Kujo to stand clear of the area. All of the soldiers enters back into the corridor to the confusion of the squads of the 97 Infantry Battalion. That is, until they realize what's going on. Finally, Cujo exits the ground level and pushes another button to speak in.
We're clear! Do it!
Both generals simultaneously pushes the buttons. Electric bolt zaps at the massive sphere in every direction. On the outside, the rest of the 97 Infantry Battalion sees the flashes of light from within. The transformers are overloading from the electricity emitting so much power. They judder, they vibrate, then they explode. The generators explode alongside them. The power goes out. The emergency lights turns on, though flickering, but for the most part, the base is completely rendered in darkness. Terasawa reaches into his back pocket and takes out a flashlight. He turns it on while the camera is still rolling and flashes it around. A dim gold light glows within the crystal sphere. It glows brighter and brighter, almost blinding everyone. Suddenly, it dims back down. All looks on in silence. But then, Sagusa senses a great, immense power from within.
It's awake.
The sounds of crackling glass fills the air. Cujo peeks her head through the blast doors. She spots cracks on the sphere growing and growing all around and over. The slumbering beast has indeed awakened.
God.
Evacuate! Evacuate!
With no hesitation, the groups in the balconies runs out and runs back down the corridor from where they came from. Alarms blares throughout the base with a message over the intercom shouting,
All personnel, evacuate the facility. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill.
Shindo grabs a walkie-talkie from his pocket and speaks in it.
Code red! Code red! Ghidorah is escaping! Arm yourselves, now!
Upon hearing the message from the present-day general, the soldiers of the 97 Infantry Battalion waste no time. They rush to the medium and heavy trucks and pulse out multiple heavy weapons. Nissan IHI Aerospace 110mm LAM and M72 Law anti-tank rocket launchers and M32A1 grenade launchers, as well as ammunition from the mounted Browning M2 12.7mm heavy machine gun. Some of the soldiers mount on the heavy machine guns, while others are arming the heavy weapons. All the way down the line, they wait for the generals and everyone else to exit the base. Terasawa is the first to rush out of the base, followed by Sagusa, Morimura, and the people from the future. The rest to exit are the soldiers of the 88 Demolitions Battalion. They get clear of the entrance behind the armored vehicles and trucks, while the 97 steps forward in front of them, aiming upwards. Shindo, Wilson, and Cujo steps up behind the troops, with M11 grabbing an M72 Law onto his right shoulder and aims it high. Inside of the dome, the sphere breaks and shatters itself apart. Pieces of the crystal falls to the ground. Smoke pushes out at great speed. Fire peers out, hitting the dome ceiling. The dome collapses from top to bottom, and then it explodes like a volcanic eruption. Large amounts of debris flies up into the air, then falls back down to Earth. Smoke plumes up in the air, then down like a landslide. The debris crashes onto the road and kills. Some AMF soldiers and scientists gets hit and killed. Sagusa's hair rises. Green aura surrounds her body, and her eyes glows green. She claps her hands and spreads her arms out to the sides. A massive bubble shield spreads to 123 meters across. The falling debris hits the shield and bounces off. With each hit, however, Sagusa feels as if she is getting hit in the head constantly. Then, the smoke from above covers the shield as more debris falls. Kenichiro sees Mickey in so much pain, but there is nothing that he can do about it. 42 seconds goes by. Everything goes silent. The falling rocks and debris has subsided. The smoke disappears as the shield disappears. Mickey relaxes her body and collapses to her knees on the concrete road. Her eyes are half shut, she is pouring out sweat, and she is breathing heavily.
Okay, take it easy now. I'm sorry. It was instincts. That's fine. I understand that. I told you not to stress yourself so hard.
An explosion erupts from the top of Mount Mabu. They all look up to where the dome used to be. The smoke within is blown away. A string of fire shoots up into the sky. A second one shoots upwards, and then a third goes upwards. Reaching far above the mountain, they stop. They circle around each other, getting faster and faster. Then they form into a massive fireball. Flashes of red light shines in the sky, bright enough to be seen in Fukuoka. Terasawa aims the video camera at the ball of flames. As he zooms in, a pair of giant bat-like wings springs out from it. 2 flames below it spreads and forms reptile-like legs. A pair of tails extends out from behind. A string of fire shoots up, forming a head, followed by a second, then a third. The wings closes, then spreads like a bird. A great flash of light shines even brighter than the night sky, nearly blinding everyone. The light turns from red to gold. 5 seconds later, the light disappears. Everyone looks around at each other. Terasawa picks himself up and aims the camera up high. Upon doing so, however, the man's face changes to fear. His eyes widens and he slightly steps back.
What's wrong? We're fucked.
She looks up at what he is staring at. Fear takes over. She grabs her boyfriend's arm and clenches it. Everyone else looks up with the same reaction. The soldiers aims their weapons upwards at the awakened kaiju. In the sky above the destroyed Outpost 64, Ghidorah flaps his giant gold wings to keep hovering. Its overlapping gold scales flutter slightly in the wind. Its long, serpent-like neck lifts up, revealing the 3 European dragon heads with 5 large curved horns on each side. Its twin tails with spikes on the end rattles like a rattlesnake. The beast descends to the ground below. The 150-meter tall kaiju lands its reptile-like legs with sharp talons on solid ground in front of the humans. Its landing creates a small earthquake, sending some of the humans off of their feet, but most of the soldiers still aims their heavy weapons at it. It puts its wings down and uses them as front legs like a wyvern. It lifts up its heads with the center neck positioned slightly behind the left and right. The middle head opens its eyes, revealing its golden pupils. The right head opens its eyes, revealing red pupils. Then the left opens its eyes, revealing white pupils. The 3 heads looks around and sees nothing but mountains and trees as far as the eyes can see. The left head looks down and spots the humans. It lowers downwards to examine them. The middle and left notices the humans down below and does the same. The humans themselves backs away from the 3 heads as they get closer to them. The middle head angrily snarls. The right head smiles and licks its sharp teeth. The left, out of curiosity, sniffs them.
Fire!
Machine guns unloads, rockets launches out of the barrels creating backblasts, and grenades launches out of the launchers. The right and middle heads recoils back from bullets and explosions, but the left head does not care. The middle bumps on the left and growls at it, with the left responding to complaint. The 3 heads rises up and continues to stare at the humans shooting at them. The middle head looks at the left and tilts. The left's eyes widens. The middle turns to the right and nods. The right smiles with sheer delight. They stare back at the firing humans. The underside of their necks begins to glow yellow as the heads arches up. The soldiers on the ground stops firing, noticing the light going up to the heads. Their mouths open, revealing golden lights. Sagusa instantly knows what is going to happen. Another bubble shield spreads out from her. But because of her exhaustion, she could spread it from M11's end to Terasawa's end. Shindo, Wilson, Morimoto Kano, and 7 soldiers are inside. Field looks to the left side and becomes shocked. Grunchenko is outside of the bubble. The Admiral realizes it and looks back at Robert.
Dennis!
Ghidorah roars and expels golden lightning bolts known as gravity beams from its mouths. The volley of bolts touches down, instantly vaporizing the Admiral and everyone else. M11 loses his breath and hyperventilates. He collapses to his knees and holds his mouth, holding in the vomit. Ghidorah stops firing and focuses on the shield. It fires another volley of gravity beams onto the shield. Sagusa grunts in agonizing pain, but she continues to hold her ground. The force and pressure becomes too much. Cracks appears on the shield. Suddenly, it breaks. The Esper flies backwards off of the road. Terasawa and Morimoto rushes to her aid as the soldiers resumes firing once more. The heads arches up again, getting ready to fire another volley. But then, something catches the middle head's attention. It snarls on the right to stop and bites on the left's horn and growls at it to stop as well. It tells both of them to look over to the left in the distance. They spot a giant beam of light, the lights of the city of Fukuoka. The middle looks at the left and right and nods. The left becomes excited, while the right sadistically smiles and snickers. Ghidorah lifts his arms up and spreads his wings like an eagle. They flap downwards, lifting the massive bulk of the kaiju up into the air. The survivors watches as the beast reaches up to 200 meters. Ghidorah roars, sounding like laughter. Then, it turns and flies off into the direction of Fukuoka. The remaining humans can only watch the kaiju fly away. The feeling of failure enters their minds. But there is another that is now taking over and has now become reality. Dread.